In November 2023, Forbes compiled a Hall of Shame list, which contained the names of the people they regretted choosing for their annual Forbes 30 Under 30. Once celebrated, the Forbes 30 Under 30 has now become an object of concern as more and more people from the list keep ending up in jail for various crimes, including popular billionaires you may know. What is the Forbes 30 Under 30? And what is wrong about it that has forced Forbes to write an apology to the public? Stay with us as we discuss the Forbes 30 Under 30 and why it is known as the cursed list. The Forbes 30 Under 30 was established in 2011 by a certain Forbes employee known as Randall Lane, who masterminded and brought the program to life. As the editor-in-chief of the Forbes magazine, the aim of the program was to look out for 30 individuals under the age of 30 who were making waves in various industries and bringing them to the spotlight. They divided the list into different categories such as Hollywood and entertainment, healthcare, sports, finance, and every notable sector across different continents and regions. From thousands of nominations, 30 young people were to be selected from each category for the annual event, which now has a dedicated social media app. It could be fair to say that every young person wanted their name on that prestigious list, which served as a status symbol. But despite over 100,000 nominations so far by 2022, only a few were able to make it to the top pages of the magazine as youngsters. The slim chance of acceptance into the list led many to believe that Forbes was running one of the most sophisticated selection processes in the world that make up the best of the best without any room for error. Little did the world know that the company was running a very questionable system that did not only do a poor job at selecting the best, but ushered in the worst. In just 2 years after the sensational startup founder named Martin Shkreli appeared on the Forbes list, he was indicted in a serious lawsuit that landed him 4 years in jail. Among the things he was accused of were security frauds, misrepresenting financial records, and attempting to manipulate company stocks, but that was not the most damaging of all. The then under 30, who was celebrated for his works in the pharmaceutical industry, was later found to have been criminally hiking the price of a medication used in treating parasitic infection from a meager $17.50 to a whopping $750. Family who has been struggling to get this medication had felt that they had been paying a premium worth for a premium medication, only to find out that they were being ripped off by the popular farmer boy, whom Forbes had once considered deserving of their highly regarded list. If this was an isolated case, then it would have been easier to blame the individual and not Forbes for a decision that was made years back. But this was not an isolated case. There were many more cases that didn't have to wait decades to implicate the Forbes 30 Under 30 as the fastest ticket to jail. One of the most popular cases involved the then 29-year-old billionaire named Sam Bankman-Fried in a case of 7 fraud counts. The entrepreneur who had co-founded the trading firm FTX had been announced in the Forbes 30 Under 30 Hall of Fame in 2021 as an upcoming wonder in the finance sector, which could not be doubted given that he quickly accumulated a net worth of around $26 billion for himself barely before the age of 30, while overseeing a finance company that could boast of an estimated $1.4 billion in daily trading. The under 30 CEO had been relatively thriving before his addition to the prestigious list, and just 1 year after, his net worth fell to zero. His company became a shadow of its former self, and the young man lost his freedom, all to a criminal case that showcased his fraudulent dealings and misuse of company funds for personal luxuries. A new story that shook the internet and made it to the front pages of the media. This was a bad day for Forbes again, as another dent was made to the Under 30 program, which was meant to be attributed with only success and prestige, only to be run down by infamous scandals, successfully slamming the recognition effort as a cursed venture. The situation was not just in America, as other non-American honorees were facing the same spellbound fate. Take popular Nigerian businessman known as Invictus Obi, who went as far as taking the front cover of Forbes magazine after he was selected at the Forbes 30 Under 30 event in 2016. It was very good publicity for the country whose young population was stereotypically associated with internet fraud. But this attempt at good publicity backfired in 2019 when Invictus was arrested by the FBI in America for fraud. The very same thing that was killing the image of the youth population in Nigeria. The young businessman was accused of using Nigerian-based companies to run scams targeting US citizens, while also being a part of a crime ring that specialized in creating fake websites and identities to swindle unsuspecting victims of their money. This was not the case of a good egg going bad, as Mr. Invictus' fraudulent activities could be traced as far back as 2015, with public information barely 2 years after he was named one of the most influential business people by Forbes. Cases like this began arousing questions and criticism towards the Forbes 30 Under 30 selection methods. While many blamed Forbes for running poorly researched selections, others laid unfounded claims that the company was not so innocent of collecting payments and being biased. Thoughts like this could have been coming after many had wondered how a person like Cody Wilson could have made it into the list when there were other business wunderkinds in his place. The young American, who appeared on the Forbes 30 Under 30 in 2014, quickly rose to popularity for sharing blueprints on the internet that allowed anyone to 3D print a walking gun. Inasmuch as the government tried to stop him, the law student went ballistic on a court case and won against the US Department of Justice, allowing him to continue his weapons business. But that was not the most controversial thing about him. In 2018, Cody Wilson was arrested in Taiwan on accounts of a sexual assault on a minor. He was accused and found guilty of paying for a one-night stand. The then 31-year-old was sentenced in 2019 to 7 years of probation on a plea deal, bringing the controversial figure to a damaging end. However, Cody Wilson was not the only one that took the brunt of the scandal, as every prominent report about him found a way to link him to the Forbes 30 Under 30, which further vandalized the reputation of the program. In order to save their image, Forbes would not take any disgrace again as they opened up themselves to investigations on former honorees who were liable to stain the name of their organization. The endpoint was to quickly revoke their name from the 30 Under 30 community before their crimes would be made public. A scapegoat of this effort was a certain women's magazine editor named Fadria Prendergast, who was indicted in an investigation led by Forbes on the magazine's corrupt practices. According to reports by victims, Fadria was involved in a scheme that collected money from people, promising to get them featured in the magazine, only to ghost them after payment had been made. Although these allegations were denied by the woman, Forbes was not willing to risk another scandal, as the former honoree was quickly stripped of her access to the Under 30 community in order to save the organization from future embarrassments by law enforcement agencies. However, efforts like that could not compete with much bigger news, such as the sensational story of Charlie Javis, the woman who was reported to have defrauded the banking giant JP Morgan. The tech CEO had created a startup which he had claimed to be greatly helpful to students in navigating the financial aspect of higher education and was successful at it, claiming to have grown to serve over 5 million students. The startup was quickly acquired by JP Morgan for $175 million in 2021, after which it was painfully discovered that the figures declared by Javis were all lies. Although now cooling her heels in jail, the young entrepreneur was only 2 years into the Forbes Under 30 community. She was not spared from the shameful fate visited on many of its members. Some theories have speculated that being added to the Forbes Under 30 list effectively places an individual under the watch list of federal authorities, which could possibly mean that the Forbes 30 Under 30 might not be a good spot for any entrepreneur, given the liability of their position to force them into engaging in questionable practices naturally overlooked by industry standards. However, for those under watchful eyes, such leniency does not apply. This may have been the case for the downfall of Caroline Ellison, the top executive for Alameda Research. She was quickly arrested in just 1 month after making it to the Forbes 30 Under 30 in 2022. Although Caroline's arrest could be tied to the downfall of her partner, Sam Bankman-Fried, who owned the company she was running, there was no doubt that her arrest story in just 1 month after joining the Under 30 list was a powerful narrative for the alleged cursed nature of the community. The piling cases against the image of the Forbes 30 Under 30 were no longer something that Forbes could simply ignore, so that by 2023, the publication finally admitted to having made mistakes in the past, leading them to publish a list currently known as the Forbes Hall of Shame. The list contained the names of several dubious figures who have gotten a mention from the Forbes in the past, such as Charlie Javis, Lucas Duplan, Sam Bankman-Fried, Nate Paul, Caroline Ellison, and several other alumni who have brought shame to the credibility of the organization. Forbes went as far as making a sorry statement during the 2023 announcement in Botswana by acknowledging that there were indeed some picks that they wished they could take back. Unfortunately, wishes will remain wishes, and some things may never be undone. The Forbes 30 Under 30 has faced its reckoning, forcing Forbes to confront the realities of their selection process while trying to manage the stories of dishonor among their honorees. Moving forward, the publication is faced with the choice: either continue to pick the shiniest trinket in the drawer or use these lessons to create a truly credible platform that celebrates integrity alongside success. Whatever the case may be, only time can tell the possibility, if at all, of the narrative changing for good and for Forbes.